Hello, dear viewer, and thank you for joining me on day 41 of reading the Bible together. Today we are reading Exodus chapter 32 and 33 from the Old Testament, as well as Matthew chapter 24, verse 15 to 31 from the New Testament. Let's start. Exodus chapter 32, the gold bull calf. When the people saw that Moses had not come down from the mountain, but was staying there a long time, they gathered around Aaron and said to him, "We do not know what has happened to this man Moses, who led us out of Egypt. So make us a god to lead us." Aaron said to them, "Take off the gold earrings which your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me." So all the people took off their gold earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took the earrings, melted them, poured the gold into a mold, and made a gold bull calf. The people said, "Israel, this is our God who led us out of Egypt." Then Aaron built an altar in front of the gold bull calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to honor the Lord." Early the next morning they brought some animals to burn as sacrifices, and others to eat as fellowship offerings. The people sat down to a feast, which turned into an orgy of drinking and sex. The Lord said to Moses, "Hurry and go back down, because your people, whom you led out of Egypt, have sinned and rejected me. They have already left the way that I commanded them to follow. They have made a bull calf out of melted gold, and have worshipped it and offered sacrifices to it. They are saying that this is their God who led them out of Egypt. I know how stubborn these people are. Now don't try to stop me. I am angry with them, and I am going to destroy them. Then I will make you and your descendants into a great nation." But Moses pleaded with the Lord his God and said, "Lord, why should you be so angry with your people, whom you rescued from Egypt with great might and power? Why should the Egyptians be able to say that you led your people out of Egypt, planning to kill them in the mountains and destroy them completely? Stop being angry, change your mind, and do not bring this disaster on your people. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember the solemn promise you made to them to give them as many descendants as there are stars in the sky, and to give their descendants all that land you promised would be their possession forever." So the Lord changed his mind and did not bring to his people the disaster he had threatened. Moses went back down the mountain, carrying the 2 stone tablets with the commandments written on both sides. God himself had made the tablets and had engraved the commandments on them. Joshua heard the people shouting and said to Moses, "I hear the sound of battle in the camp." Moses said, "That doesn't sound like a shout of victory or a cry of defeat. It's the sound of singing." When Moses came close enough to the camp to see the bull calf and to see the people dancing, he became furious. There at the foot of the mountain he threw down the tablets he was carrying and broke them. He took the bull calf which they had made, melted it, ground it into fine powder, and mixed it with water. Then he made the people of Israel drink it. He said to Aaron, "What did these people do to you, that you have made them commit such a terrible sin?" Aaron answered, "Don't be angry with me. You know how determined these people are to do evil. They said to me, 'We don't know what has happened to this man Moses, who brought us out of Egypt. So make us a god to lead us.' I asked them to bring me their gold ornaments, and those who had any took them off and gave them to me. I threw the ornaments into the fire, and out came this bull calf." Moses saw that Aaron had let the people get out of control and make fools of themselves in front of their enemies. So he stood at the gate of the camp and shouted, "Everyone who is on the Lord's side, come over here." So all the Levites gathered around him. And he said to them, "The Lord God of Israel commands every one of you to put on your sword and go through the camp from this gate to the other and kill your brothers, your friends, and your neighbors." The Levites obeyed and killed about 3,000 men that day. Moses said to the Levites, "Today you have consecrated yourselves as priests in the service of the Lord, are killing your sons and brothers, so the Lord has given you his blessing." The next day Moses said to the people, "You have committed a terrible sin, but now I will again go up the mountain to the Lord. Perhaps I can obtain forgiveness for your sin." Moses then returned to the Lord and said, "These people have committed a terrible sin. They have made a god out of gold and worshipped it. Please forgive their sin, but if you won't, then remove my name from the book in which you have written the names of your people." The Lord answered, "It is those who have sinned against me whose names I will remove from my book. Now go, lead the people to the place I told you about. Remember that my angel will guide you, but the time is coming when I will punish these people for their sin." So the Lord sent a disease on the people, because they had caused Aaron to make the gold bull calf. Exodus chapter 33. The Lord orders Israel to leave Mount Sinai. The Lord said to Moses, "Leave this place, you and the people you brought out of Egypt, and go to the land that I promised to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants. I will send an angel to guide you, and I will drive out the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. You are going to a rich and fertile land, but I will not go with you myself, because you are a stubborn people, and I might destroy you on the way." When the people heard this, they began to mourn and did not wear jewelry anymore, for the Lord had commanded Moses to tell them, "You are a stubborn people. If I were to go with you even for a moment, I would completely destroy you. Now take off your jewelry, and I will decide what to do with you." So after they left Mount Sinai, the people of Israel no longer wore jewelry. The tent of the Lord's presence. Whenever the people of Israel set up camp, Moses would take the sacred tent and put it up some distance outside the camp. It was called the tent of the Lord's presence, and anyone who wanted to consult the Lord would go out to it. Whenever Moses went out there, the people would stand at the door of their tents and watch Moses until he entered it. After Moses had gone in, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the door of the tent, and the Lord would speak to Moses from the cloud. As soon as the people saw the pillar of cloud at the door of the tent, they would bow down. The Lord would speak with Moses face to face, just as someone speaks with a friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but the young man who was his helper, Joshua son of Nun, stayed in the tent. The Lord promises to be with his people. Moses said to the Lord, "It is true that you have told me to lead these people to that land, but you did not tell me whom you would send with me. You have said that you know me well and are pleased with me. Now if you are, tell me your plans, so that I may serve you and continue to please you. Remember also that you have chosen this nation to be your own." The Lord said, "I will go with you, and I will give you victory." Moses replied, "If you do not go with us, don't make us leave this place. How will anyone know that you are pleased with your people and with me if you do not go with us? Your presence with us will distinguish us from any other people on earth." The Lord said to Moses, "I will do just as you have asked, because I know you very well, and I am pleased with you." Then Moses requested, "Please let me see the dazzling light of your presence." The Lord answered, "I will make all my splendor pass before you, and in your presence I will pronounce my sacred name. I am the Lord, and I show compassion and pity on those I choose. I will not let you see my face, because no one can see me and stay alive. But here is a place beside me, where you can stand on a rock. When the dazzling light of my presence passes by, I will put you in an opening in the rock, and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take my hand away, and you will see my back, but not my face." Please feel free to pause the video here for time to reflect on what we have read. Let's continue. Matthew chapter 24, verse 15 to 31. The awful horror. You will see the awful horror of which the prophet Daniel spoke. It will be standing in the holy place. Note to the reader, understand what this means. Then those who are in Judea must run away to the hills. Someone who is on the roof of a house must not take the time to go down and get any belongings from the house. Someone who is in the field must not go back to get a cloak. How terrible it will be in those days for women who are pregnant and for mothers with little babies. Pray to God that you will not have to run away during the winter or on a Sabbath. For the trouble at that time will be far more terrible than any there has ever been, from the beginning of the world to this very day. Nor will there ever be anything like it again. But God has already reduced the number of days. Had He not done so, nobody would survive. For the sake of His chosen people, however, God will reduce the days. Then, if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Messiah," or "There He is," do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear. They will perform great miracles and wonders in order to deceive even God's chosen people, if possible. Listen, I have told you this ahead of time. Or if people should tell you, "Look, He is out in the desert," don't go there. Or if they say, "Look, He is hiding here," don't believe it. For the Son of Man will come like the lightning which flashes across the whole sky, from the east to the west. Wherever there is a dead body, the vultures will gather. The coming of the Son of Man. Soon after the trouble of those days, the sun will grow dark, the moon will no longer shine, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers in space will be driven from their courses. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the peoples of earth will weep as they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven, with power and great glory. The great trumpet will sound, and He will send out His angels to the four corners of the earth, and they will gather His chosen people from one end of the world to the other. Please feel free to pause the video here for time to reflect on what we have read. That's it for today, and I hope that you'll join me in the next video. Wishing you a graceful morning, day, or evening.